take me in to where I end and you begin, to the place where I don't know exactly how the story will go. In your love, I can finally breathe. I can finally be me. So take me in to where I end and you begin, to the place where I don't know exactly how the story will go. In your love, I can finally breathe. I can finally be me.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center of Woodstock. I'm so blessed to have you here sharing your journey of life as you witness today another journey of life, and our very special guest speaker today will be up in a little while. So welcome. Welcome to life, welcome to living, welcome to experiencing the reality of what is and what you would wish it to be and what you want it to be and what you're creating it to be, and finding the tools to make that happen. My name is Reverend Mary Patrice Wendt. I get to be the minister here. It's my privilege and honor to do that. Let's go ahead and start with a prayer. Let's take a deep breath. Divine Spirit moving through me and all that are here, experiencing this life, every breath that we take together and apart. Thank you for these moments, for the strength that shows up to live them, for the persistence in wanting to create the moments that we cherish, the moments that we dream of. Thank you for the support of all around us and for the love that continues to pour forth from substance, that Creator that has breathed us into being. Thank you for the love that we feel and take in and welcome and share. Today is a gift. Thank you for allowing me to be part of it. Thank you for allowing each here to share in it, and for all the wonderful outcomes that come through it. We know it is so, and let it be. Amen. Let's begin with our 5 unity principles, the basis for all we believe and act from and show up from. Together, please. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good omnipotence. The Christ Spirit lives within me. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. I experience God's presence and power through prayer and meditation. I put my faith into action by demonstration. Today is a fabulous day to experience, to create, to be a part of this journey called life. And here in Unity, we believe that experience comes from within, that there is a guidance system that is showing us the way, and all we're here to do is to get quiet enough to hear it and follow it, honor it, share it. So that requires us to be more spiritual, that spirit within us, than religious. We really support that unfolding, that ongoing story that is coming alive in each one of us. And how it looks will be different for everyone. No matter what you choose to do, somehow it will be unique to you, and it will be the gift to everyone else. So thank you for allowing us to be part of that in your life today. At this time, I want to say good morning to our tech team. Thank you for being here. On the boards, we have Mr. Ted Squires. Give a wave, my friend. Thank you so much. And Mr. George Mulligano, thank you so much for being here. And our usually incognito friend on tech would be Mrs. Kim Joswiak. Thank you so much. On our music end of things, we have the most amazing Miss Lori Gray Mulligano.
If the moonlight caught you crying on Killarney Bay, oh, sing your song, let your song be sung. If you listen, you can hear the silence say, when you think you're done, you've just begun. Oh let's take a deep breath with me, in and out. Let those words and let these words become one with your mind and with your body. God fills every cell of your body. Every cell is alive with love. I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. And all healing energy flows through me now. Harmony and balance, vitality and zeal, peace and joy and oneness. That glorious wisdom that creates and sustains well-being is mine. And I am one with all that is. God fills every cell of my body. Every cell is alive with love. So I relax into the healing process. I allow Spirit to do what it does. I allow Spirit to do what it does. I allow Spirit to do what it does.
Dear friends, I invite you to join me in meditation. So take a deep cleansing breath and a long exhale. Let's do it again if you want. Take a ha on your out breath. So another deep breath in and let it go. Ha, just let yourself land here. And just be with your breath. Letting your breath soften your body, your arms, your hands, your feet, your whole body. Your face is soft. Your jaw is soft. Allowing yourself to relax. Allowing your attention to relax from the things of the world. And it feels right, allowing your eyes to close. And feel. Know it's okay to feel whatever is arising. It's entirely okay. And I invite you to be the witness, to watch, gently noticing your thoughts as they stream through your mind. Just letting them be there. Allow. Let your mind do whatever it enjoys doing, allowing it just to be. And now allow your attention to settle into your heart space, to soften into the gentle quietness of your heart. You may wish to place your hand over your heart, maybe even both hands. Give yourself permission to rest here in this silent and still place of perfect peace, and breathe. Notice how you may begin to feel a gentle spaciousness within. a peace descending upon you like a gentle dove. I am loved. I am loving. I am lovable forever. Let this phrase be a stairway that invites you to descend deeper from the world to the depth of perfect peace within your heart space. I am loved. I am loving. I am lovable forever. Feel the groundedness within, rooted in perfect peace. And breathe. Allowing yourself to feel, I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable forever. Knowing that these thoughts reside at a cellular level within, knowing that you can revisit this sense of peace within your heart space at any time. And breathe. Know when you think a loving thought, you've been caressed by the touch of God. And slowly bring awareness back to the room, bringing this meditation to a close. And just letting yourself gently be here. Ooh. Good morning. So, Lori, love is bigger than anything in its way. I think that's all I need to know. I think I'm done here. I'm kidding. No, good morning. Welcome. My name's Rena. I am very honored to be here with you to celebrate Pride. This is the last Sunday for Pride Month, and I'm honored to be able to share with you. You know, I also I'm dedicating this talk to Rev Tom. You know, 10 years ago, he and I had a phone call. It was a phone call that I just made here, and I needed to know if Unity Spiritual Center of Woodstock was affirming and that it was inclusive. And it was sort of a make or break call. And it was a great conversation. Obviously, I'm here. So thank you, Rev Tom, for that. You know, Pride is very special for me. You know, two Sundays ago was Pride Fest here in Woodstock. You know, we had the service, and then a whole bunch of us, it was a shortened service, and we went over to the square where we were in the parade, and then we were on the square. And it is so inspiring for me to be witness to young people who are wondering who they are, exploring who they are, to seeing their parents' support. You know, that didn't exist for me back then. You know, it's, I mean, it's so, there was so much love. You know, it's like those Sundays of Pride Fest here in Woodstock, I mean, the sense of feeling and the joy and that I feel within, it's right up there with feeling Christmas. It is so powerful. It's like a day, it's one of my most favorite days in the year. If you haven't tried it, I offer you to come join us next year. So I have a little secret I need to share with you. And it's this. you are an amazing community. You are all an ally of the LGBT community, and please know this, because you may not know it, and you are. I appreciate you so much for being so loving, your friendships, for creating and holding safe space, a sacred space. You know, it's the demonstration that you make. You know, we are all light of the world. I mean, it is so powerful. I mean, what's amazing is that is you help me remember that I'm a light of the world, because there's times I forget. So thank you for that. And please know how invaluable this is for someone like me. Thank you. Thank you. A little bit about me. I identify as transgender. Recently, I've come to identify as non-binary too. And I'll talk more about that later. I guess for the new norm, my pronouns are she, her. I would like to actually, there are times where I'd like to have more gender neutral pronouns, but they, them, for me is complicated. And what I've come to realize, and I hope no one takes offense to this, but our language is too small. You know, I get confused with they, them. I think there's two of me. So maybe our language will evolve. Something will come forward that I think for me will be more meaningful. And yeah, I think it's actually sort of funny. A couple of awarenesses that I want to share with you. I started changing my talk on Friday night, and actually into yesterday, and it was like I completely changed it up. But I just want you to know, one of the last times I gave a talk, I started changing it up like on Saturday night, like at 1 a.m. before here. And so I guess I'm making progress. I gave myself an extra day. Another thing is, you need to know that this topic for me is real time. You know, it's a button pusher for me. Jesus talks about the idea of 70 times 70 forgiveness, and then I realized that this subject is one of my 70 times 70 things for me to work on as far as my own personal forgiveness work. And last, and the main point is I hope I bring this talk in for a landing. You know, that it comes in for a safe landing, and that I don't become a hot mess up here. And also, I want to make an apology potentially for possibly oversimplifying what can be a difficult topic. I mean, it's something that could take hours of conversation, and I'm going to try and cram it into 5-10 minutes. So I apologize potentially for that, you know, because it is a complex subject. And last, I just want you to know, if I seem to sound like I know something, please know I don't. Okay? So let that all go. Okay, so about my talk, I need to take a detour. All right, what showed up for me is that I want to talk about a word, gender. You know, and also I want to make a distinction that gender has nothing to do with sexual orientation, which is a whole different subject, and they're not related. You know, it's often not realized. You know, when I first, this word first showed up for me in the 90s, I was highly suicidal, and that was my moment where I was reaching out for help. You know, and what's funny is how the word gender showed up for me, because it's such a popular word right now, is that it showed up that I got diagnosed with what was called gender identity disorder. Now, this is where I show up for help and I get pathologized with a mental disorder. So that's how gender showed up for me. And now, fortunately, about 10 years ago, the medical and mental health community changed the terminology. It's now called gender dysphoria. And they've released and let go of dealing with gender, people that are trans, that it's not a pathology. And that's really important, that's that they focus on the dysphoria of it. And that's really a great thing. It took a while, but we're making progress. Sorry, I don't mean to be sarcastic. So something funny, a really dormant memory showed up for me as I was preparing for this talk. It's something that I forgot about. I guess I shoved it down. It's something that you may not know about me. At that time, after I reached out for help, I was undergoing an elaborate process of diagnosis, medical care over several years, and I came to the conclusion that transition was my only option to regain a level of well-being. So through that process of transition, I made several trips to Canada for surgical procedures. And it was quite an experience. After all that, here I was living my new life as a new improved version of me, and I became so overcome with fear. I became deeply depressed. It was about a 3 or 4 month period. I forgot about this. It could have even been 5 or 6 months. I actually had started the process with my doctors to consider detransitioning, to go back living as a boy again. It was really crazy, really painful. I don't recall how it happened, but somehow my fears diminished enough. I stopped with the detransition, and I wound up at a place called Kripalu. It's a yoga ashram, where I lived for about 18 months over the next 2 years. That probably helped me save my life. It was an amazing blessing for me. Boy, I'm doing a lot of umming up here. Like I said, this is a definite button pusher, but it's good, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here to talk in honor of and celebrating Pride, because I think my feelings, I don't think I'm alone. I think there's many of us that have similar stories. So something, for the last several Sundays, I was sitting out there where you are, and I was sitting with this pride flag, and this pride flag, it represents a lot of things. I mean, it's a reflection of gender identity and sexual orientation. It's and for me, for today, I'm just going to focus on gender, just the gender aspects of what this flag represents. Like I said, it has a lot of meaning. There's a lot of symbols in this map. I keep calling it a map. I think there's a reason I'm saying that. This flag, there's a lot of stories that are represented. There are feelings. Some of the feelings for me are to be worthy, to be free, to be happy. Their meanings, their identities. Also for me, there's this. When I look at this flag, there's sadness for me, and the sadness is remembering the many friends that I've lost so far to suicide. Yeah. I've actually, over the last 20-some years, I've lost five friends. And something also what's important, this flag represents, and it connects up. There was a recent study within this flag, and this is really interesting. Within this flag, This flag represents that 11% of the LGBT community, or LGBTQ adults, identify as non-binary in relation to their gender. You know, of that 11%, 42% identify as trans, 58% identify as cisgendered. By the way, I just want to make a comment. Cisgendered is not a bad word. It's not a slur. It's a good word. So, and another interesting part is that not all trans people are non-binary. You know, there's some of us that are just where we are binary. And that's a whole other conversation. Another statistic that map shows, and I'm not trying to load you up with a lot of numbers here. They're not really important. 0.6%. That's just a little more than a half a percentage point of the general population identify as trans. You know, so we're really a small group of people. And within this flag, another really important statistic, over 90% of trans and non-binary adults experience suicidal ideation, and about 40% attempt suicide. You know, compare that to the general population of the whole, you know, just non-trans, only 2% attempt suicide. So it sort of represents, you can see, you know, the takeaways are gender is really complex, and gender is not easy. You know, for someone like me, it's a medical condition that requires medical care and mental health care. So I want to do a little experiment with you. And that includes you too, George. So I want you to check in with your outer body. I mean, just feel your outer body. And you know, for me, I use the joke, I call it a meat suit. I want to check in with your outer body and notice if it's a boy body or a girl body. Is everybody good with that? Has everyone figured out their bodies? Yes? Okay. And then I want you to check in with your inner you. The you inside of you, the consciousness that is you. And notice if you feel your boyness or you feel your girlness. Does it match your physical body, your outer body? Yes? No? Everyone? Everyone? Okay, good. Because just an FYI, if your inner you doesn't match up with your outer you, you may be trans or non-binary or both. I'm just saying. And then next, what I want you to do is imagine your physical outer body just magically changed. You know, that it changed now that your physical outer body is now the opposite. If you had a boy body, you now have a girl body. If you had a girl body, you now have a boy body. And I have a magic wand here for if anyone needs help here. Anyone needs help with the change, okay? And I promise that the magic wand will change you all back, okay? So now I want you to notice how that feels. Notice how your inner you, who knows who you are, your inner you who knows your gender, and just notice that contrast. And now just imagine being 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years old. You know, your family, your friends now refer to you and address you according to how they see you, which is the opposite of your inner you who knows who you are. Notice how that feels. Do you notice feeling any confusion or feeling conflicted or distress showing up? I just want to give that sort of sense, and that's sort of the sense of what, you know, dysphoria can feel like. So, yeah. So let's bring this experiment to a close. Here's the magic wand. You're all back to where you were. Thank you. I've never done this before. I hope it was okay for everybody. Is everyone back? Everyone's good? Okay. I'm really glad this magic wand works. So you may recall I mentioned, I mentioned how I've now identified as non-binary in addition to being identifying as trans. At the last Pride Fest 2 weeks ago, I was walking around the square after we were done with the parade, and I met this great guy. I call him the flag guy. And we got into this conversation, and I was telling him how I was feeling, and I almost felt like he was holding a therapy session for me. I was telling him how, with gender, I think that like within the LGBTQ, there should be an extra B. It should be LGBB, because I feel like there's two of me. It's like bi-gendered. And he asked me some questions, and I answered his questions, and then he says, "Oh, you're gender fluid." And he says, "And there's a flag for you." One moment. So I have a flag. So it was so funny. I was on the square, and there's a lot of young people that were wearing their flags, and now I get to be like them. And I don't know if any of you remember the story, the Little Soul in the Sun, the children's book. Amazing story. So there's this part in the story where the little soul is having the conversation with God, and where the little soul is jumping around like this joyful little kid and says, "I know who I want to be. I know who I want to be." And like for me, it's now, I know who I am. I know who I am. And it's an amazing. So next year, I'm going to be out there on the square in my flag. So where'd I leave off here? So this explains a few things. How can I say this? When this whole concept of gender, being gender fluid, which it's just giving a name to something, but I think some of you figured it out. When I hang out with the boys, I can become a real boy. I mean, when I hang out with George, like, it can go really downhill. And I hear a lot of sighs at times. And then when I hang out with the girls, it's like, I can be all girl. And then there's times where I don't want to be any gender. I just want to be neutral. I just want to be a human being. And it's, I feel like this chameleon. And it's really interesting. So here I am, I know who I am. Another thing I think I'm finally, am I here yet? Let's see, gender getting, this is what you get for changing up your talk. Oh, here we are. So my original talk, was trans curse or trans joy. By the way, I just want to ask, have you ever heard the term trans joy? Anyone hear it? No? Yes? Thank you. Well, this is a new concept. Matter of fact, I'm wearing my shirt to honor it. I am trans joy. I work with trans people. Providing aftercare for medical treatments that they undertake in when they start transition, and I've been doing it for about 20 years. And most now are younger. They have loving family support. They're pursuing their educational dreams. Many have successful careers. Having the fortune of working with inclusive employers. They're fully living their lives with positivity and joy. I mean, it's really inspiring for me. You know, there was one patient, you know, where, you know, she, you know, I get this opportunity to have these great conversations, and, you know, so she's calling me an elder, make me feel old. I said, no, I'm just in my 5th adolescence. but so, you know, but she's like putting me up on a pedestal, and I said, no, you got it all wrong. You got it all wrong. You inspire me. I mean, it's like you show me hope. I mean, and that's this sense of trans joy. You know, what's going on these days is very different from when I transitioned. There's a definite shift in our larger consciousness, and it's just brilliant to witness. You know, even in the face of current adversities that's going on, my witnessing these young people and then also reading about younger trans people, adolescents who show their incredible power of living in their truth, in their love of self, it blows me away. You know, it's amazing to be witness. So there's a day called Trans Day of Visibility, and it's on March 31st. And so on that day, you know, I was sitting at my desk, and I was, you know, scrolling on my computer and reading some amazing stories about young trans people embracing their trans joy and how they transcend and rise above the current adversities and how they live so fearlessly. Whoops. Get the paper. Okay, there we go. And in reading these articles, I realized, you know, my talk isn't about living a trans curse or a trans joy. It's about being fearless. You know, it's funny. You know, I've experienced a lot of fear in my life. You know, sometimes it felt like it could choke a giraffe. I mean, just think of it. Giraffes got a really long neck. You know, what clearly showed up for me that day I was sitting at my desk, you know, it was the wonder, you know, it was the wonder of, you know, if I will ever be fearless. You know, that was my question. And I just have another question. I promise it's the last one. Have you ever wondered about being fearless? I mean, I have it for my own, but I mean, you don't have to be trans to have, you know, to be in fear or to be fearless. And, whew, I gotta breathe. So I did some putzing around on Google, and because this was such a powerful aha for me that day. You know, what showed up was a talk from Guy Finley. He's one of my favorite spiritual teachers. You know, funny, I was introduced to him and his teachings here at Unity. Thank you for that. Wow. I thought my talk was going to be a lot longer. So, you know, I want, as I bring my talk to a close, I want to share an excerpt from his talk titled, "The Essential Laws of Fearless Living." I think I should read this to myself every morning. To be fearless is to be fully alive. It means you meet each day with the power and assurance of a giant icebreaker commanding the polar seas, cutting through every barrier with ease, stopping all interference before it can stop you, sinking any negative thought or feeling in your path. Every living creature is endowed at birth with all the confidence and will needed to flourish in the world, a world of which it is an integral part. You too are meant to fully manifest all the potential lying within you, to know the boundless authority and effortless expression of your own true nature. To be on the cutting edge of life, entering into wider and wider realms of freedom. It is your inborn right to experience the fearless life within all the wonders that it naturally holds for you. To be daring, vibrant, optimistic, filled with quiet happiness. To be decent, simple, uncluttered, and kind. When you live without fear, every aspect of your experience is enriched. You can speak what's in your mind and heart. Your understanding in any moment is profound and complete. You never feel compelled to hold yourself back. You enter into full communication with others and know truly compassionate, loving relationships. In the fearless life, you are never daunted by any challenge you face. You know that every event or condition, regardless of what it may be, has the power to deepen your understanding and further development of your soul. You know how to meet each moment, even the difficult ones, and find within the means to grow stronger, wiser, ever more fearless. This is the way we are meant to live, fearless and free. I mean, these words for me, I think this is probably a new mantra for me. And what I'm amazed about is that it's the younger folks that have figured this out. Here I am, way older than them, and I'm just getting a glimmer of it. And so here I am, but I'm grateful. It's good. It's good. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to share with you and to be with you. And, much love to all of you. Namaste.
Lately, I've been so disconnected. My feet don't want to touch the ground. Can't find my way through this dimension when all these voices drown me out. I feel so far from my body. It's hard to find my way back. Everyone tells me that I'm crazy. Well, maybe. Well, maybe I am. Now I wonder if anyone will hear this. I wonder if I'll ever be fearless. I wonder if I'll end up alone. Don't know where I'm going. Oh, I wonder if what I say will matter to someone. If I'll go broke trying to keep on. I wonder. Sometimes I'm like a falling feather, floating, I don't know where to land. Why are we looking for an answer when the questions are way too hard to understand? Oh, I wonder if anyone will hear this. I wonder if I'll ever be fearless. I wonder if I'll end up alone. I don't know where I'm going. Oh, I wonder if what I say will matter to someone. If I'll go broke trying to keep on. I wonder. I wonder if anyone will hear this. I wonder if I'll ever be fearless. I wonder if someone will miss me. This life is a mystery. Oh, I wonder if what
thank you for your talk. I was sitting and listening to you speaking today, and I hear you saying that you're not fearless by this definition. And maybe that would be so in some circles. But I see it a little differently. Maybe I wouldn't call it fearless, but I would call it courageous. Because courageous means you feel the fear and you do it anyway. And the truth is, people that started the journey that you've been on, it's sort of like when we first started driving, the Model T. You had to look for every rock and pebble, and there's no road or anything to follow, and you had to look out for every obstacle because there were so many. And the people that drive now, that have gone through the transition and the progression of all of that journey, have a nice solid black pavement to go through. And it's a lot easier to maybe live that life of fearlessness that you described. But you, I would say, are a trailblazer. That's what I would say. Whew. So, it is that time in our service where we welcome your gifts and your tithes. If you would please, if you would consider to offer something that supports these stories, these journeys, your journey to move forward, to be all that you are and all that you're becoming, please take that gift out now. Place it in your hands and then bless it. Just know that this is what we're about. We're about walking the journey together, whatever that looks like, whatever that feels like. And we do it because it's what's good for everyone. You becoming all that you are is the ultimate gift to everyone. So go ahead and hold that gift in your hand, bless it. See it expanding and growing and supporting everything that goes on here, as well as everything we do to reach out there. Let your gift be blessed here and now with this short prayer. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you. Your gifts directly bless everything that happens here on Sunday, as well as 12-step programs we host, as well as kids programs we host, our youth ministry, all the things that we do in the community. Thank you for that. We are self-sufficient. Whatever comes in is what makes it happen. Just know that. Thank you for helping to make today happen. Thank you for being a part of the greater plan, the greater gift of journeying together. And thank you for the gifts that you're sharing that make it possible. So we're going to bless them all together, please, with the thank you, God, 3 times. For all of you givers and all of these gifts, we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Amen. Okay, I have some announcements to make. Unity Spiritual Center is a ministry based in prayer. If you are someone who loves to have prayer done for you or with you, this is the place to be. We have a prayer box here just to the right of fellowship. Please join us in fellowship after the service, right through those doors. We also have our prayer chaplain on duty. Jackie, would you please stand up? If you want a prayer in person, confidential, right, real time, you can have that too. In addition, there are candles at the end of the aisle. Just if you would be so gracious to donate $2, we will light it every Sunday until it burns out for whatever intention that you may hold. So, as now, our additional announcements. If you're interested in knowing more about what we offer here, there are classes and groups and special events online. Please check that out on our website. Also, tomorrow I'm leaving for the Unity Convention. I will be out of town until Friday, but I'll be back next week. Also, I'm not going to miss out. I have to be back next week because we have our Unity potluck. No way I'm going to lose out on that. So that will be here in Fellowship Hall. The theme is a picnic, a summer picnic inside. There's a sign up in Fellowship. Please bring a dish with you and enjoy everyone else's. And we have our next World Peace Day meeting, which will be happening September 21st. But the meeting is on July 10th at 7 p.m. We're getting closer, and the details are starting to fall in place. So thank you for that. Additionally, the 16th, Friday the 14th, our Fun and Friendship for Females women's group has a slumber party going on. There you go. Why not on a summer day? This sounds amazing. I wonder if it'll be in the backyard. That would be cool. So it's at Renee. Renee is here. Raise your hand if you want to talk to her for more details, and an e-blast will go out on it soon. The 16th, we are dedicating our new rock garden that will be out front following the service, and there will be a light reception where you can actually help paint more rocks to go in there. So we're looking for positive affirmations and beautiful decorations. So you get to be part of that process, and our youth ministry is sponsoring that. The lending library, we have a new section. It's a new season. So for summer, the section that we're highlighting is called Unity. Find a book in there about Unity. You might even find that it pays you to enjoy it and read along. So I'm not going to say any more about that, but check it out. Volunteer openings, if you are interested, we still would love to have another person join our team on our tech team to help with Sunday services. George is back there. Ted is back. Ted is one of our new volunteers. He can give you the lowdown skinny about it. And it's always a good time back there. I hear them laughing more than they need to be, but that's all good. Lance, I wonder what it's about. So who knows? We might have, they have those extra blooper recordings after shows and stuff. Maybe they're testing for that. I don't know. Landscaping, we could sure use a leader for that who has a vision and wants to help make our grounds beautiful. And we could use some extra greeters. If that speaks to you and it falls in line with your journey, let me know. I'd be happy to hear from you. Also, let's go ahead and stand up. This is time for our prayer for protection and our peace song. Don't forget to join me in fellowship afterward. Okay, ready? Prayer for protection. And it's coming up. There we go. All together, please. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as to where I end and you begin, to the place where I don't know exactly how the story will go. In your love, in your love, I can finally breathe. I can finally be me. So take me in to where I end and you begin, to the place where I don't know exactly how the story will go. In your love, I can finally